So, are you ready to catch the new Hulu mini-series, limited series, Pam and Tommy? Well, maybe you shouldn't be ready, and maybe you shouldn't watch it at all. And today, we're going to talk about why. So I got up this morning super early because I fell asleep super early last night. And I was just sort of watching the sunrise, and then I was putting my calendar together, and I realized that today was February 3rd, which meant that yesterday was February 2nd, which is not only Groundhog's Day, but it is also the day that the Pam and Tommy miniseries was debuting on Hulu. And I missed it! So I missed the first episode. So I did what any Motley Crue fan would do at like 6:15 in the morning. I put on Hulu. I want to start with some caveats, explanations, and disclaimers so we can get that all out of the way. So the first thing is that I am a huge Motley Crue fan. My three favorite bands in order are Kiss, Queen, and Motley Crue, and have been since I was like in high school. Got Motley Crue's first album when it came out. Actually, my older brother got it first, and then I saw it, and I saw that album cover, and I was like, hello. I mean, I was 13. So, I mean, that music was so subversive and just cathartic and awesome, and I loved it. And I have remained a fan of their music, and I am a huge Nikki Sixx stan, like his recovery journey and what he's done with his life and his entrepreneurship, and just love him. The book, The Dirt, is the best rock and roll autobiography ever written because it's written by all four guys. And the thing I love about The Dirt is that they each tell the story the way they remember it. And so you can see where they didn't see eye to eye on things. So love Motley Crue. Tommy Lee, I think that he's an incredibly handsome man. And you're like, what now? If you just look at his face, he is just structurally a gorgeous human being. And his antics were not always to my liking, which leads us around to a very important disclaimer that covers this entire video. Originally the way I was going to phrase this, and I actually filmed a video like this earlier, and I was really enraged when I filmed it, so I was like, nah, I gotta do that again. I said that I was a sexually repressed human being. I don't know that I'm sexually repressed. What I do know about myself to be true is that I don't see myself as a sexualized being. Like, I just, being in my mid-20s, and early 20s, mid-20s, and late 20s, as kind of all of this stuff went down, and as Pamela Anderson was just everywhere, I so could not even remotely identify with her or her experience. I couldn't understand. And I do still struggle to understand human sexuality, because it's probably why I'm so fascinated by it. It's because I don't understand it. I just don't see myself as a sexual being. I'm not saying I'm asexual. I'm just saying that I don't experience life I experience life from inside my head. Like, my body is just kind of there. And so there was a period of time in my mid to late 20s where I guess I peaked, like, from a physical perspective. I managed to put together the hair, the face, and the body of someone who was attractive. When I would go out with my friends, I started getting attention from men, and it made me really uncomfortable because I had never dealt with that before. And I was really uncomfortable about it. And so, I started doing what I did in college, which was basically dress to hide your body. So that's me. I go around in t-shirts, jeans, sneakers, sweatshirts. I just don't see myself like that. And I don't understand what it's like to be a person who is empowered sexually in their body. And so that's where a lot of the thinking process around all of this stuff was going on when I was in my 20s. I was like judging the heck out of Pamela Anderson because I was still in my 20s. My prefrontal cortex was just about forming, and I judged the heck out of her when this whole thing went down. So I want to be clear and open about all of that. I start watching this movie not exactly knowing what it was going to be. First of all, I thought it was a movie. I didn't realize it was a miniseries. I'm like, what? Episode 1, there's going to be 8 episodes of this. So far, 2 are on Hulu. I watched 3/4 of the first episode, pitched a hissy fit, recorded a rant to end all rants, and then was like, okay, perhaps I should do some research and calm down. I'm still angry though. I'm still angry for Pamela Anderson, and I'm still angry for Tommy Lee, and I'm very angry at Hulu, and I'm very angry at Seth Rogen, and I'm angry at Mr. DeVincentis. I've already forgotten his first name, who is the showrunner, and I believe he wrote the first few episodes as well. So I'm not sure what this miniseries is trying to be other than sensational, other than dredging up for the sake of nostalgia, a horrific invasion of privacy that happened to a couple who are no longer married to each other 25 years ago. These people had a safe stolen by a contractor played by Seth Rogen, who they're trying so hard in this first episode, and this is where I think I got angry and like all my angry antenna went up. I was like, are you trying to explain why he did what he did? Are you trying to make him seem sympathetic and Tommy Lee seem like an asshole? Because it's entirely possible that Tommy Lee was an out of control asshole, but that does not give you permission to steal from him and his wife, and it also does not give you permission to, when you steal their safe and find their very private VHS tape of something they filmed on their honeymoon, and it happens to be a tape of them having sex, it does not give you the right to then sell that and distribute it, which is what this horrible human being ended up doing. So the Seth Rogen character is, the other thing that really annoys me about him is that they try to show that he's into spirituality, and he says something about, oh, I read a lot of Sanskrit books, and he's like, religion is beautiful, the righteous are rewarded and the wicked get punished. So like, is that setting up his moral high ground for what he did? It's really messed up. But pull out all of that, all of trying to show that he had a traumatic childhood. From what I understand, I've done some more reading today. We do delve eventually into Pamela's life a little bit, but not until episode 6. Isn't this a story about Pam and Tommy? Why do we not do anything about Pamela's life situation until we get to episode 6? Oh, that's right, because we're exploiting Pamela again. So here's the thing, guys. Pamela Anderson was asked if she wanted to be involved in this miniseries, and she declined to respond. Okay, that's fine. Now, there is a loophole. It's so messed up. So the showrunner says in an article, I think this is on an EW, it's so sad. So much of this show is about the behind-the-scenes strength and heroism of Pamela Anderson in the way that she dealt with and got herself through it. So much of the show is about that. If so much of the show is about that, why didn't Pam want to be involved? Do you think that Pam just really didn't want to relive this again? And so, if Pamela Anderson did not consent to the making of this miniseries, and as it turns out, Tommy Lee did not consent either, afterwards, he kind of said, oh, well, yeah, Sebastian Stan, yeah, he's cool. He didn't consent to it. Apparently, there's some legal loophole in which people were not only able to distribute a sex video of a couple without their consent, but they're also able to make a mini-series about how all this happened and how it affected the couple without the consent or input of the couple. They are drawing on some things from Tommy's autobiography, Tommyland, but that's just about it. And then just piecing together different interviews with different people and lawyers and things and stuff that happen, and some characters that were in it in real life aren't in it in the miniseries. It's very confusing. So if you were going to make a movie that looked at this in a way that Pamela Anderson is heroic, I don't think this would be the movie you would make. Mind you, I only saw 3/4 of the first episode, and the only things that happen in that episode that revolve around Pam is it starts by us hearing Pam and Tommy going at it. while the carpenter, by the way, he's an electrician in real life. In the movie, he's a carpenter. I don't even know why we changed that. To make him more Jesus-like. I don't know. He stole from them. He's downstairs and he's pounding in nails while they're upstairs having sex. It was the most stupid, overly ham-fisted visual. I'm like, who directed this crap? And so we hear her, right? And then we later see her in Tommy's driving away in his red sports car, and she's all like, and then when Seth Rogen's character, the thief, goes to confront Tommy about not being paid, he goes into the main part of the house and goes in the kitchen. Is Pam washing dishes? No. Is she pouring herself a glass of iced tea? No, she's dropped something, so she's on all fours in just a t-shirt in the kitchen. That's a heroic stance if I ever saw one. Way to go, directors. And I don't understand how in the age where we talk about consent, where we teach our children about consent, how we can make an entire 8-part miniseries about a sex tape that was stolen and distributed without their consent. Without getting the consent of the people who were stolen from. I don't even know if that sentence made sense. But here's the thing. No one consented to anything then. No one consented to anything now. Pamela and Tommy never profited off of the sex tape. When they eventually agreed to the online distribution, it was because Pam said, this is what she said. Back in 2015, Pam said, it was stolen property. We made a deal to stop all the shenanigans. I was 7 months pregnant with Dylan and thinking it was affecting the pregnancy with the stress. And I said, I'm not going to court anymore. I'm not being deposed anymore by these horny, weird lawyer men. I don't want to talk about my vagina anymore or my public sex anything. That's what she said in 2015. Okay? Now, at the time, you see what the problem was the internet was not yet quite a big deal. But Pamela and Tommy's sex tape kind of blew up the internet. It actually did crash the servers of the first people who released it. It became a thing. And then porn on the internet became a huge business. And they may have inadvertently in some way contributed to that. Now, I don't have a problem necessarily with pornography or sex workers. Any of my issues that I have around pornography or sex work are back to, the people involved in the work having agency, giving consent, being treated humanely. And I think, a lot of times in these industries, that's not what's happening. So that's what my concern is. I have evolved from the 20-something-year-old girl that was like, all porn stars are ick, to understanding that sex work is it's something that someone can make a choice to do, and if they feel empowered in doing it, if as long as they're treated well and they're okay with doing it, then they should do it. I make YouTube videos. Not everybody would be okay about spilling their guts about how they feel and their mental health on YouTube. I choose to do that. I feel comfortable doing it. I feel empowered doing it, and so I'm doing it. And so I realized that that's kind of the same thing, It's interesting that they really didn't think that giving up the rights to it on the internet would lead to everything else that happened. Because they allowed it to be on the internet, they somehow no longer had the copyright. And so then people were able to make hard copies and sell them. It's so screwed up. It's just so screwed up. So she also said of the whole process, this whole legal nightmare that she went through in Lee's book, Tommyland, when she talks about how during the court depositions, she said, old men with crusty white stuff in the corners of their mouths would hold up pictures of me naked in Playboy and ask why I'd even care that the tape was out there. So we're going to dredge the shaming back up for her too. I mean, she's clearly said that she didn't want to be judged and shamed anymore, right? Well, we got that. That was what, 2015? She said back in Tommy's book, which was printed a long time ago, that these disgusting old men were shaming her. I feel like not only did she not consent to have this miniseries made, I feel like she's not real happy about it. And so I cannot support the exploitation of this woman. I can't. I just can't. And I don't think that people should. Now, I welcome you to argue with me and try to educate me in a respectful manner in the comments. You know, let me know if you have reasons for why you're going to watch it anyway. If you disagree that dredging this up 25 years later is harmful to Pamela Anderson. But I ask you to please disagree with me respectfully in a way that we can have a dialogue about it. And maybe you can educate me. Maybe you can help me understand why in 2022, I sat down and started watching this thing that is going to do nothing but exploit a woman and exploit a man. But it's interesting because they actually said the showrunners were never worried. This is from an article also in EW. The showrunners were never worried about how Lee would feel about not being involved in the series. So we don't care what the man thinks. We don't. Tommy's a public figure, and I think we treat him well enough, the showrunner said. And we've come to know that he's excited about the show. Is he really? Are you sure? How have you come to know that? Other than him supporting Sebastian Stan in the way that he transformed himself to look like Tommy Lee, which, by the way, is freaking mind-blowing. And when I first saw the pictures, I was really actually excited. Because I do have to tell you, I do have a dark side that really, really likes celebrity gossip. And I'm really trying to not read and watch, like, you know, all the celebrity tea and like the tea vlogs about celebrities or YouTubers and stuff like that. I'm trying not to, because I'm trying to kind of pull gossip and the gossip monster out of me. I don't think it brings out the best in me. And that's not me judging people who love celebrity gossip because, like, you know, I understand. It's just me trying to do something within myself so I'm trying to undo that, you know, but I was really excited to see the transformation. And at first I was like, wow, Lily James, oh my God, you look incredible. And now I find out that Lily James, she did try to reach out to Pam. Pam didn't answer her. Lily, as the woman playing the woman, I've got to ask you, when Pam didn't want to talk to you about it, and when you knew that she was not a part of the creating of this miniseries, why did you accept the role? But then that leads us back down the road again, where we go and we ask, well, why did she? Well, it could be a career-defining role. It gave her an opportunity to totally transform the way she looks and have producers and directors see her as a more sexual being. And I'm talking about Lily James, because she tends to get cast in period pieces and she doesn't get gritty adult roles. Throughout the history of Hollywood, I've noticed a lot of female actresses take roles that are over-sexualized in order to make themselves appear more mature and to show that they're able to be more gritty and that they can do hard roles. And they, you know, I mean, she has to do things, I'm sure, in the course of making this miniseries that I'm never going to see because I'm not going to watch it. But I do know that there is some sort of a reenactment of the sex tape to some extent. So she had to do those scenes. And so she's making a statement that I can do this. I can play this role. Why does a female actor need to take off her clothes, over-sexualize her body in order to prove to all of the men in charge in Hollywood that she can play more adult roles, more gritty roles? Why in 2022 is this still a thing? And then there's the whole concept of this is a watershed moment in internet history and in the pornography industry and in the celebrity industry, because this did lead to other young women having sex tapes accidentally leak, trying to capitalize on the exposure that it brought to Pamela and Tommy. Entire careers have been launched by the accidental leak of a sex tape. So there's a gentleman, Mr. Blatt. He's a sex tape distributor. That's his job title. And he actually, a sex tape broker. I'm sorry, he's a broker, so he brokers the deals. He said, in the Washington Post, he said, I believe that the Pam and Tommy Lee tape should be in the Smithsonian next to Archie Bunker's chair or the Fonz's leather jacket. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it isn't. It's become part of Americana. By the way, this is also the man who released Paris Hilton's One Night in Paris tape. Is this really a piece of Americana? Does it really belong in the Smithsonian? Are we a country that wants to memorialize the theft of a couple's very private video? Do we want to memorialize the slut shaming of a woman? Like, where are these people coming from? Why are we doing this in 2022? Please, someone help me understand. What am I missing here? Why is it okay that the Pam and Tommy miniseries exists? Is it because Seth Rogen's a good guy? Well, Seth Rogen's involved, you know. He's involved. He's one of the producers. It must be good. Yeah, Seth Rogen, he's a good guy. So this must be a good thing. I'm sure this is going to be good for people. How is this going to be good for anyone? Do we really believe that Pamela Anderson is going to be made out to be a strong and heroic figure in this movie? Do we really think that? Is that honestly what's going to happen here? Or are people just going to watch it to see the salacious nonsense play out all over again, and so that they can sit in judgment, not of Tommy Lee, but of Pamela Anderson for, well, just like the guy said, he posed nude in Playboy, why do you have a problem with this videotape? Because one I consented to and one I didn't, jerk off. But no. We still don't get that. We still don't get consent, do we? We really don't. We don't get in this country that it is okay at any point to withdraw your consent. We're not giving Pamela the opportunity to withdraw her consent. As far as I can tell, she didn't say yes to this miniseries. If someone doesn't say yes, then they did not consent. Isn't it that simple? So if she didn't consent to it, why is it okay that it's happening? Because of legal loopholes? Because it's a dramatization? No. Because 25 years later, people still have no respect for Pamela Anderson because she's a very sexual being and people don't understand that. Now, as I said in the beginning, I don't understand it, but I know that I don't understand it. I'm old enough now, I'm 54. I know I don't understand women who are like that. I don't understand that experience. I don't understand who they, but I also know that it doesn't make her not a human being. She's a human being just like me. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's been a wife, she's a human being. She's very active in animal rights, activism. She really cares passionately about that. I think she's a genuinely nice human being. But because of the way she looks and because she posed nude and, and sexualized her body, we're now, is that meaning that she gives us consent to do whatever we want with her image and with her story just because she chose to pose nude? I don't care if she chose to make a pornographic film and distribute it and sell it and make money from it. Fine, do that. But that's her consenting to do it. She didn't consent to this. How many times have I said consent in this video? Count it. Because when it comes down to it for me, as I was driving my mom to the doctor today and I was talking to her about it and I was all upset, and then I'm in the waiting room and I'm reading all these articles and I'm clipping out parts of it, every single thing that I go through, it just comes down to a man and a woman did not consent to this. And it still happened. It happened 25 years ago, and they had to live through that hell. Now it's 25 years later, their children are grown men, and they're going to have to relive all of this. Is that okay? Are you okay with that? I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. And that's why I'm saying that no one should watch it. I'm using the word should. No one should watch it. And I'm really, Hulu, I'm ashamed of you. I really am. And I'm shocked. Sebastian Stan, Lily James, Seth Rogen. I'm just like, I'm not canceling anybody. I'm not calling for canceling. I'm not like a big like cancel people person. I don't cancel. I'm not a big canceler. But I am really questioning their judgment, their ethics right now. I really am. Really, really, really disappointed. I don't know what I'm doing with that. I don't know. I still need to let this percolate. I mean, it's only been like 6 hours since this whole thing started for me. I just know I'm angry. And I hope that other people are angry. I really, really do. So I would love to hear from you. I may at a later time do a longer video about this as my feelings evolve. I want to start to see what other people have to say about it. I want to hear what you have to say in the comments. I want to understand it, like if I'm like wrong, if I'm not seeing this the right way, but like this is how I'm seeing it right now. And I'm shocked, I'm disgusted, I'm sad, I'm disappointed. And like, I just want to go find Pam and Tommy and like hug them and like be like, on behalf of everybody in the world, I'm sorry they did this to you. Because I just feel awful. I don't like feeling awful. I certainly don't like feeling awful at 6:15 in the morning. So anyway, I would love to hear what you have to think. I thank you so much for watching, for listening to me rant and rave about strange things sometimes. Let's talk about consent, okay? Let's talk about this, because the only way that we get better is together. And when we have conversations about difficult things like consent, we definitely get better. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. I do it every time. I love you guys so much. I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again real soon. Bye.